Welcome to NBS Television. This is the Breakfast Meeting. My name is Isabella Tugume. The conversation this morning will be around the Africa Strategic Leadership Center, and I understand it's having a summit. And joining me in studio to have a conversation, a broader conversation in this particular regard, is Awil Uwihanganyi, the Associate Director. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yes.
Awil?
Awil?
Yes.
Awil.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Awil Uwihanganyi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for
hosting me. It's a pleasure to have you. First of all, kindly tell us, define the Africa Strategic Leadership Center.
Yeah, so the Africa Strategic Leadership Center is a think tank. It's a non-profit organization established as a think tank. Our main focus is on policy, so research, policy, and convening dialogues. So we process it, we research information, we process it in a way that it can be referenced for policy actions and policy decisions, and then we convene around that to make sure that leaders are able to also take political actions and other actions as well. Okay. Yeah.
So now, who are the founding directors, and what are the objectives, or what were the objectives of setting it up?
Yeah, so the directors come from across different backgrounds, really, from government to non-profit and private sector. And the idea is that I think we had been having different conversations at different points in time with different people, especially when you see African conferences and summits and conversations on important issues like investment and tourism and African identity being convened in places like London and Dubai or New York, and sometimes you find many of our heads of states getting on jets flying to these different capitals, and you wonder, why are we, if Africa is so important, if people think that Africa is so important, why are we not getting the world to come here as opposed to us? They're talking about Africa, but again in different places. So one of the major reasons we decided to do this is to make sure that we create a space where African can start owning the conversation and the narrative of where the continent is and where the continent is going.
Okay. So think tanks, what do you think is their role in Africa as of today? And then, of course, are they doing enough to bring Africa's development to mainstream conversations?
Yeah, of course, the think tanks are extremely important in how society grows or how it sees itself and how it shapes. In other developed economies, the roles of think tanks is extremely critical, especially independent think tanks, because they provide alternative thought. But also think tanks because of the capacity to undertake research and just have scholarship that's just seated and thinking, and it's extremely important in a way of bringing out ideas, and ideas do matter in a way that, again, society sees itself and how it shapes up. So in our context in Africa, in Uganda, I think it's extremely important that that we start prioritizing the place of think tanks in a way that we look at conversations where we are, where we want to go, where we are coming from, and that also helps encourage the importance of publishing, researching and publishing. We must have more African authors and African publishers on African issues and on issues which are important to us. Most, I think, written material on Africa, you find that it's mostly written from a Western perspective. Or by there's nothing wrong with non-Africans writing about Africa, but primarily, if you really want to shape your own identity and your own outlook to how the world sees you, I think you must be invested in that. And I think that's the role think tanks can play, to actively be involved in writing and publishing and researching. Okay. Yeah.
So now let's discuss the Africa Now Summit 2019. First, is it the first of its kind?
Yes, it's the inaugural one. Yes.
It's the inaugural one.
Yeah.
So from the 12th to the 13th, you are having the first of its kind Africa Summit.
Yeah, Africa Now Summit.
Africa Now Summit. Yeah. Tell us about it. What is it about? Why did you decide to hold it? And who are the people that you're expecting to grace the event?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, the summit is our main convening platform. So it's our main platform for conversations about information we do research on, the policy positions we are pushing, and now we bring all the different leaders from different sectors, whether it's private sector, academia, non-profit, and political, to be in one place to convene and talk about important challenges that we're faced with, agree on some sort of consensus and agenda and action agenda going forward. In this particular summit, the theme for this summit is considering working towards an integrated, growing, and a secure Africa. Okay. So that's the general theme we're working with. And I think within that, I think there's an opportunity to bring leaders from the different backgrounds, whether it's political, non-profit, academia, and big institutions, to talk about how to get Africa moving forward, like the regional blocks working closer together. You can, for example, the different tensions we're seeing in the region, and whether it's between Somalia and Kenya or Rwanda, Uganda, what's happening. I think we can use these kind of platforms to, as non-government sort of diplomacy, if you want to say, to find a way of getting leaders to talk, to see the big picture, to get the views and feedback from the different sessions of society.
Okay.
Yeah.
I spotted one speaker that excited me, Tony Elumelu.
Yeah.
He's coming in from Nigeria. Is there any other person that you have in store that is confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have, first and foremost, we have our president, President Museveni, who is...
he will be attending both days?
Yes, he will be, I mean, he's like the co-chair, because he's the patron of the Africa Strategic Leadership Center. He gave us the challenge. He's always talking about, he's a thought leader himself, so he writes a lot, he publishes a lot. So he's always giving us a challenge. So actually setting up the center was some sort of responding to his challenge about what we're doing in curating Pan-African ideas, Pan-African stories, and the African perspective on governance, democracy, and culture. So that's how, so our president, first and foremost, is the main speaker at the conference. And you mentioned Tony Elumelu, but we also have like very exciting speakers as well, like the deputy president of Tanzania. He will be representing President Kikwete. There's the president of Somalia.
Somalia. I was honestly waiting for you to drop it, but you delayed.
Yeah, the president of Somalia.
So he's actually coming.
Yes, he's coming. And we also have some very exciting, who may not be political names, but people who are thought leaders.
Is he the only, is Somalia's president the only leader from within the region that's coming?
Yeah, well, the president extended, we requested the president to extend invitations to different leaders, including the president of Kenya, the president of Rwanda, and South Africa, and he did that. I think we've not; those things are still in process.
So they're yet to
they have their own
their
processes of how they confirm.
Okay.
So we're still hoping that these key leaders will confirm. But on the whole,
Somalia is definitely confirmed.
Yeah, Somalia is confirmed. The president of Afrexim Bank is one of our key speakers. Professor Kitui, who is the Secretary General of UNCTAD, is one of the key speakers as well. We have some also young speakers, some from NBS, who are going to be moderating the sessions. Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting two-day conference, but also talking about very serious things. Okay. And for example, where Africa has come from since independence, where we're at, and what's going to take us forward. Okay,
so let's look at the fact that you've pointed out the key people that are going to attend, which begs a pertinent question. Is the summit open to the public?
Yeah, so it's the summit you have to pay. It's a paid-to-go
okay, so how much does one have to pay? And in case they want to register, how do they go about it?
I mean, there's a website. Our website is www.africaleadershipcenter.org. And so in the website, all the information is on the website. Like I said, it's a paid-for conference, and we have, I don't want to make it seem like this is an advertising for the conference, but a whole lot of information is on the website, so anyone can go on the website and find about that. But we encourage youth participation as well, because it's also an intergenerational dialogue. We're making it an international dialogue, so we want to see more young people connecting with senior leaders and finding, given that Africa is so young, we want to put young people at the center of these conversations.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wihanganyi. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. We appreciate it. And we appreciate all the support the Next Media is giving to the summit, with all the exposure. We appreciate it.
Will it be airing live on NBS?
Yes, it's going to be aired live on NBS, actually.
Okay, so
the key sessions. Well, the key sessions, the opening and the closing sessions will be live on NBS.
Okay.
And we appreciate your support.
We do appreciate you as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having us. And
Great.
thank you so much for being part of the breakfast meeting this morning.
I appreciate
The conversation was about the Africa Now Summit. Before I let you go, Mr. Wihanganyi, look into our cameras and tell our viewers what you'd like them to take home from the conversation we had right now. And of course, if they would like to register, are we allowed to ask how much we get to pay?
Well, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Like I said, we're at a point in time where it's extremely important for Africans to be more assertive in owning the African narrative. Given that, especially I talked about young people, our countries are extremely young, with demographies that sometimes point to almost over 60% under the age of 16 or 15. So these young people, we must be deliberate and intentional in making sure that we align the thinking of where we're at, where we want to go, but most importantly also where we've come from. So these are the conversations that are going to be at the center. For those who may not be attend, they can follow online. A lot of these conversations are also going to be online, streamed online, so you can actually watch it from your phone and watch it. NBS is going to be facilitating that. So if you're not able to attend, then
you can stream it.
You can stream it online, or you can read it, follow us online at Africa Now. At Africa Now on Twitter.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was really nice having you. The conversation this morning is looking at the Africa Strategic Leadership Center that is hosting its very first Africa Now Summit, slated to take place from the 12th to the 13th of this month, pushing the idea of Africans driving their own narrative, an event that you do not want to miss out. And in case you would like to register, Mr. Wihanganyi has told you the website where you can go to see how you can go about it, how much money you have to pay. And of course, when you listen to the long list of people that will be speaking at this event, I guarantee you do not want to miss it. This is NBS TV. This is The Breakfast Meeting. My name is Isabella Tugume. We do take a short break and return with another after the messages.